Again, the narrowest of margins split the world's top teams. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. Okay, so first game of the weekend gone was Tonga 14, Italy 36. So we have nice hands from Italy for the opening try as they go wide. Trulla not held. He's kind of like he was tackled once and then he kind of ducks down a little bit. He's trying to place the ball and get back to his feet. Tongan player goes completely over the top of him. So then he's able to get back up to his feet, collect the ball and just run in to score. Bizarre defending from Tonga there. And then next, so they spread the ball from the back of a 5-meter scrum to the left of the post, and Ioane is over to score. Then we have Taulani forces his way over to reply for Tonga. Italy then, they kept the ball alive really well. Like it's one of these ones where, you know, they're offloading to nobody, but they're putting it somewhere where they know they're like, it's more than likely one of their own players is going to arrive, and then that leads to Lamro getting over to score. Then Alessandro Garbisi snipes over for the next one, and then just half of Italy's players just seem to stop and switch off, looking for a knock on, but Paya just tore through the middle of them and goes over to score. And it's just one of those ones where it's like, just play till the whistle, guys. Then, and you could see as well, there was Italians still complaining about it after he dotted the ball down. Italy then, their dominant scrum delivers a penalty try, and that rounds things off in that one. So, first of all, good to see Tonga at least getting, you know, a tier 1 nation coming over there. And we need to see more teams going there as well in the future. You know, we talk about looking to grow the game, but we have, you know, the island nations, etc., and we don't seem to be giving them the support that they really need. So let's hope that can, you know, not just continues but gets better over, you know, the coming years. Italy, they'll be happy with the win and also the time spent together, I think. And it feels like they've been on the up since that disastrous World Cup campaign. So this is just another, you know, I know they had like a recent loss, but you know, this is a decent win for them, and you can see, you know, given what's lying under this as well with Benetton, much improved in the URC. Every season they're getting better. Even Zebre are making strides as well. It looks like they're heading in a, you know, good direction. Next time we have United States 7, Scotland 42. So Duhan van der Merwe picks a great line, shows, you know, good strength as well to get over for the opening try. He equals a try scoring record for Scotland. Can't be too long before he breaks it. You know, I think if he plays any of the 2 remaining games on his tour, I think he's gonna break it before he comes home. Ashman then goes over, peels off the back of an impressive Scotland attacking maul, then gets a second, this time staying tight at the back of that maul as it drives over. Mark Fagerson then spills the ball. He basically tried to run out from the back of a defensive 5-meter scrum in the corner. McGinty goes close for the USA. They then, you know, after they kind of snaffled up the loose ball, then Bodie gets over from close range for the Eagles' only try of the game. Ashman then completes his hat-trick, and again it comes from Maul. Kyle Rowe breaks out wide, then puts it back inside for Horn to get over for the next one. And then Matt Fagerson with the final score, you know, at the back of a dominant Scotland scrum that just drove its way over the line and finishes it off. So USA, still plenty of improvement to make to get back to that level where, you know, they're going to be qualifying for pretty much every Rugby World Cup. They weren't there at, you know, at the last one, and they'll want to be there next time. I think Major League Rugby will give them a decent base at least, you know, to try and make that a reality. But still, you feel like there still is improvement to come from them. Congrats, first of all, to Duhan van der Merwe on equaling that try-scoring record. You know, amazing feat from him. Scotland still got 2 more games to go. We saw, you know, plenty of new faces against Canada, then a return of more familiar ones, at least in the Scotland shirt on this one, or in this one, sorry. And, you know, they got 2 more tests now to maybe mix things up, have a bit of experience with a bit of the new guys as well. And again, I feel like the real test of the success of this tour is how many of the new guys are going to force their way into that Six Nations squad next year. Because you think about it, after the Six Nations is going to be the Lions Tour, which means that all of the nations that make up the Lions, they're going to be going on development tours. I think Ireland are going to Georgia and Romania, I think. I'm not sure where Scotland are going, but it means that, in terms of breaking into like the first team or the first kind of squad, the Six Nations really should be the target for the new guys that are here, I think. Next, then we have New Zealand 24, England 17. So Talea, first of all, snipes over in the corner after New Zealand applied pressure out wide. Did really well to finish under pressure from Feo Oboso. Then a cross kick from Marcus Smith, gathered by Feo Oboso. He steps back inside Mackenzie and goes over to score. Really nice pinpoint kick from Smith there. Mackenzie then, penalty, puts New Zealand in front. Hands on the ground, and Mackenzie pops over another penalty for them. Then another crossfield kick from Smith. This one, it's much higher. It's hanging. Talea, he's under it, but Freeman, he comes out, jumps him, and goes over to score. England then with a 1-point lead at the break. Smith then lands a penalty to extend that a little bit for them. Then Bowden Barrett off the bench glides through a gap out wide and puts Talea over to score. He really did give New Zealand, new momentum when he came on the field. Then New Zealand pull away with a couple of penalties. England get some momentum in a maul, but they're halted. They break off. It's ruled as obstruction. I'm pretty sure, that they probably got held up over the line anyway. But that didn't matter because it definitely was obstruction. So full time 24-17 to New Zealand. But England coming close again. And England, they are much improved. It feels like they got a real ambition about the play, especially in that first half. They did tighten up in the second half when the pressure was on, in terms of, just the result there was in the balance, and they didn't play as freely as they did in that first half. And that's the kind of thing that, needs more belief, I think, and maybe a little bit more time from them as well. And when they start getting results, then that belief is going to come. And then you're going to see them being able to be more natural in doing that at the end of games. But we do have to remember as well, the last England team that won in New Zealand, I'm pretty sure were the team that ended up winning the 2003 Rugby World Cup in Australia. So it's a massive feat to do, for Northern Hemisphere team. So if they had done that, like, they would have gone down as complete legends. But to get that close to New Zealand, 2 tests on the bounce is, testament to how much they have improved, since Borthwick has come through. Yes, people will say, well, New Zealand may be a little bit rusty, and they're, at the start of their own journey as well under a new coach. But, when we look back at the history books are going to record 2 wins for New Zealand. Obviously, that's the most important thing. But also that England got, close in both of them. And there isn't going to be asterisks beside us saying New Zealand with a new coach or anything like that. So it's still, I think, a good achievement from them. New Zealand then, they came from behind to win the game. Bowden Barrett, massive impact off the bench. I think Razor is going to be happy with a 2-0 series win at the start of his tenure. But I still feel like they still need to polish it a bit for the Rugby Championship. There's teams coming in there, looking in decent form. Sometimes with the Rugby Championship, it can be difficult to kind of compare, until the teams start playing each other, and then you can really see, what the pecking order is. At the moment, it feels like South Africa, New Zealand, and then, Australia and Argentina, you could maybe put them either way around in that. But again, when we start getting, those games happening and the results, we will see what the real situation is. Next then, we have Australia 36, Wales 28. So Australia throwing it around 5 meters out from their own line, almost get caught by Wales, but then they managed to break through McWright after a chip and chase from Kellaway. Really brave from them. And then Dyer managed to chase down McWright, but he's got Dangunu in support, and he collects the offload and goes over to finish a length of the field score that really was impressive. And it's, one of the best things about Australian rugby is that, that, desire just to have a go from just crazy situations, and sometimes it doesn't work out for them, but it definitely did in that one. Then when it drops it on up and under, and Gordon pounces on the loose ball to go over to score. Wales, at that point then I think there's 17 points to 0 down. Wales maul then drives over and Lake is the score, and they did really well changing the point of contact. They went one way then the other, shearing off defenders, and really well worked from them in that maul to get that score. Australia then get a yellow card for shoulder to head, and then Lake gets a second at the back of a maul, and Australia really were struggling to cope with that impressive Welsh maul. Williams then goes over after Wales. They were penning away in the line. Then they decide to go wide, and Williams just a nice line to go through between two defenders and over. Alan Alatoa then pick and go forces his way over for a first try for Australia from close range. Liam Williams then does James Lowe, basically acrobatically even kept in the Wallabies kick on the sideline, but only to set up Dangunu for his second try for Australia. Rio Dyer then finishes well in the corner after Wallabies clearance was half charged down. He showed great footwork and strength to get over for that one. And then Donaldson made it an 8-point game with a penalty, and Wales weren't able to score after that. So Wales certainly looking better, but it is another loss. And, they really do have to get themselves a result at some point. Gatland's previous stint definitely buying them more time. You can imagine if Wayne Pivac was in charge for this run, how much stick he'd be getting, and how loud the call will be for him to go. But Gatland, I think he absolutely deserves the time to see if he can get this right for Wales. Australia going to be happy with the start of Joe Schmidt's time in charge. Still feel they need to step it up a few levels really for the Rugby Championship, but he's got 2 wins there, and he still has more time with those players to improve things as well, and I think he will. South Africa 24, Ireland 25 next. So Ireland much more physical than the first test, and I think it was Khaleesi after the game said that basically South Africa were as physical as they were in the first test, and Ireland just ate it up in that one, and it's great to see as well that Ireland were able to step up for that. And Ireland are applying pressure. Crowley pops over a penalty. Then slick move from Ireland. Crowley puts Osborne through a gap, offload to Henshaw, and he puts Murray over to score the only try of the game. Scrum penalty then, and Pollard gets South Africa off the mark. Another scrum penalty, another 3 points to South Africa. Then Peter Steph-Toy offside. Crowley extends Ireland's lead. Doris then almost gets over in the corner, and after that Pollard concedes a penalty. Crowley gives Ireland a 10-point lead at the break. Pollard then starts eating into that lead with an early penalty in the second half. Then a crock roll from Doris. He goes to the bin. Pollard unerring from the tee with another 3 points. Ryan offside. Pollard then makes it a 1-point game. Then Porter hands on the ground. Porter puts South Africa ahead for the first time in the game. Quagga Smith then pinged in a ruck, and Crowley puts Ireland back ahead, but not for long. Ireland offside, and it was from, I think, Feinberg and Gamazulu kick. Then Pollard nails that one. Again, South Africa back ahead. Another scrum penalty, and South Africa out to a 4-point lead, looking ominous at that stage. Frawley then lands a drop goal from South Africa dropout after Healy was held up over the line. Ireland then have to go from a scrum at their own 22 with 90 seconds left. Frawley, lovely kick to set up the position, and then lands a drop goal from that line out with the final kick of the game to win it for Ireland. So the test series ends up in a draw, 1 each, and that was a fantastic game of rugby. Yes, there was only one try in it, but it was, for me, absolutely the best game of rugby that we saw at the weekend. Just so much intensity and, so much back and forth between the teams as well. So South Africa, I think they did so well to reel Ireland in, and they looked like they were going to see it out at the end there as well. I thought where, like, just before Ireland got that scrum that basically led up to the drop goal, I was thinking South Africa are just going to keep the ball in hand. Ireland not going to see it from there. So they really did have a chance to win it, and but they're looking really good going into the Rugby Championship. So many good performances. I think it's going to give Rassie Erasmus one of those good headaches in terms of just selection. There's so many players in form, and so many players throughout this series put their hands up to say that they can absolutely do it in a Springbok jersey. And yeah, I think there's going to be some amazing players who are going to miss out on that first 23 in their opening game in the Rugby Championship. Ireland then produced a great comeback at the end. We don't see it all that often from them, and this one is definitely going to live long in the memory. And also, just it's nice to see that I think the performance of Crowley and Frawley in this, I think, is just aiding that kind of move away from the Byrne brothers in a green jersey. As a Leinster fan, I'd love to see Leinster moving away from them as well, but it definitely should continue, at least with Ireland, especially when you think that Prendergast was there as well as a kind of development inclusion in the squad, and so he would have learned a lot from that. And with that in mind, that he's obviously there in the mind of the coaches in terms of bringing him through, maybe maybe a bit of time in the autumn, maybe even an outside bet for Six Nations, but certainly going to be front and center, I think, when Ireland go to Romania and Georgia while the Lions are on their tour. Next, then, the final game of the weekend: Argentina 33, France 25. So France, they break on turnover ball, and just some really nice hands, backs and forwards combining, keeping Argentina guessing all the way. And then Sarin goes over to score. Then Besho over from close range after Argentina had the line under siege. Then they get a penalty try, just absolutely smashed France in a 5-meter scrum. Then a great finish from Carreras, and felt like Argentina really taking control. Then Gallaton charges down a kick. He goes over for France as they're looking for a response. Then who was it? Atisogobe, was it? That's a Sogbe, sorry. He goes over, basically like there was a kick, and the bounce just completely beats the Pumas' cover defense. He gathers it, and over he goes. And at that stage, then France are back in the lead. But then Gasho with a double of tries from close range. Argentina really turned up the heat, and they retook the lead and closed out the game as well from there. So from fans' point of view, again, off-field matters overshadowing the on-field for them. 2 players accused of rape in the hotel. So sometimes you look at this kind of thing, you think, like, how are these players getting to the level that they're at? Because sometimes you feel in rugby, because we see a lot of it, and we see probably too much of it, and that it almost feels like there's like a culture of to kind of almost try and cover up stuff like this that's happening, that people know about it, and it's only when the victims kind of speak up, whether it's domestic violence or sexual assault or like getting caught like being racist on TikTok or wherever it was, that there's just too much of it, I feel, in the game. So hopefully rugby can kind of get its act together and sort this kind of stuff out, because we talk about rugby giving, and it does for the most part. I think it does give, the players like a good base in terms of values and stuff like that. But stuff like this, obviously no place in the game. But in terms of on field, I'm not sure how beneficial this tour is going to be for France, because it is the off-field stuff that's overshadowing everything. We have seen, some players getting some decent game time, so maybe it will ultimately prove a benefit to them. Argentina avenged the loss in the first test, really punished, French errors, and then brought the passion, the pressure, and the precision to, in that final quarter to win the game. I think they're going to be dangerous in the Rugby Championship. Okay, so that's it for this one. I'm going on a break now for a few weeks. Like I've got a couple of weeks now until I go on holiday, but I'm going to take those as a break, and then I'm going to take my holiday as a break as well. A break from posting, at least, because I'm still going to be working on stuff, while I'm not posting, and it's kind of, longer format videos and stuff like that I want to do. So I'll be, ticking away at those while I'm on break. But again, I have to say, thank you to all of you guys for making this a fantastic season for me and for the channel. It's just been amazing, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.